Dababy released his new music video for the song Tough Skin, and he's depicting himself as crucified on a cross. Now, we'll get to the blasphemy stuff later, but first, check out this reveal. Wait a minute, what is going on here? They took the idea of having Dababy on the cross and literally made him look like a baby on the cross. Those garments, way too big. I mean, it looks like he's wearing a diaper. And why are his feet not crossed the way Jesus was? It looks like he's just man-spreading in front of the whole world to see. Jesus didn't man-spread like this. I don't know if it's his body type, the oversized diaper, or the angles, but he looks way too small on this cross. Whoever directed this video, wrote the treatment, and worked with the prop master completely screwed up the dimensions on this cross. I mean, when you're in pre-production, you gotta reference the classics. Like, I'm sure when it comes to Jesus getting crucified on The Chosen, they're not messing up the dimensions this bad. But regardless on how silly Dababy looks in this, it made me think of something Andrew Tate recently said.
I mean, the Christians haven't been gangsta in a long time. You can assault Jesus all day, no one cares.
I remember immediately after Tupac passed away, he was instantly depicted as Jesus on his Machiavelli cover and in his Scarface video. A few years later, there was a scene in Nas's music video where he too was on the cross, which led to Diddy beating up Nas's manager at the time, Steve Stout, over the scene being in the music video. I think Diddy is the kind of Christian that Andrew Tate would love. Years before Kanye ever put out Jesus is King, he too wore the crown of thorns on the cover of Rolling Stone, depicting himself Messiah-like, going on to assume the name Jesus. And even as recent as Kendrick Lamar, wearing a $3 million crown of thorns while playing dress up as Jesus on stage with fake blood coming down his face, telling the audience that he is not their savior. So does Andrew Tate have a point? What is the obsession with rappers and people in general depicting themselves as the Messiah? So on this video, we'll be discussing what our reaction should be to all of this as followers of Jesus.
Ruslan.
This sort of imagery repeatedly put out, and we look the other way, or we think it's in the name of art. It's all about art and being artsy-fartsy. I think this is an indication of where we are in terms of how much we will tolerate as a people. Now, I'm gonna get into why I think this keeps on happening and what they think is the meaning of it. But let me just start out by saying that I listened to the song. I wish I hadn't, because it definitely feels like there was a cut in the budget. Across the board, the whole mixing of the record, no vocal automation, the entire thing sounded like it was just really thrown together and released by Dababy in his desire to drop some music and I guess try to make a comeback after the whole debacle at Rolling Loud. I think that people identify with the suffering of Jesus on the cross. However, I think that they don't quite understand what the suffering on the cross actually means. I think everybody wants to feel like they're a martyr for whatever cause they think they're laying down their life for, except the cause of actually laying down your life, following Jesus, picking up your cross, and living the life that he's intended for you to live. I think that this is something reflective of society as a whole, where we want to align ourselves with Jesus as the Savior, but not as Lord, not as King, not as someone that we would surrender our lives and continue following regardless on what that may cost us in the short term. And so everybody wants to identify with Jesus, everybody wants to be cool with Jesus, except when it comes to laying down your life and following Jesus. And I think Dababy here played himself. I think he's thinking of a cool visual treatment, or whoever drove this completely played themselves. First of all, it just looks bad. Aesthetically speaking, it just looks bad. They got him up there looking like a little baby. It's really sad the way that this was executed from an artistic standpoint. Second of all, I think the song is poorly put together. Third of all, I don't think this wins anyone over. I don't think anyone goes, man, Dababy, he says some really misogynistic and homophobic things at Rolling Loud, and you know what, now I'm gonna be a fan of Dababy. I think this just goes, look how silly this guy is. He thinks he's a martyr. He's laying down his life. He has a victim mentality, victim complex, and thinking that he's like Jesus, so he's depicting himself hanging on the cross. I think the whole thing is completely silly, and it's caught him more flack than not, but it does goes to show in terms of what, as Christians, we are willing to tolerate. What kind of music are we willing to listen to? What kind of things are we willing to enable by clicking, by streaming, by consuming? Because every click, every stream is another boost in the algorithm. Just so you know, when you click into these sorts of things, you're actually helping build those kingdoms. And a lot of those kingdoms don't give a crap about you, your God, your Jesus, your Savior, who you follow, what truth you believe in, they're ultimately out for whatever it is that they want to do. And I think this is a great caution to tell. I don't even think we got to go down the route of the music industry and the Illuminati and it's all bad and it's all evil. I think this is clear as day, fam. Here is an example of someone that used to be calling themselves, he used to call himself Baby Jesus when he ran around South by Southwest in a diaper. Okay, no, people don't know, some of you guys don't know this origin story. And then he evolved and just changed his name to Dababy and, you know, had a situation at Walmart, which we're not going to get into on this video, and then blew up afterwards and has kind of made the same record over and over and over, if we're going to be honest. And this isn't no different. And so what do I think about this? I think this is an artist who is attempting to remain relevant. I think this is an artist who may know he's peaked. And this is his way of being disruptive, of cutting through, of doing something polarizing. And I think sometimes as Christians, we continue to feed into it. I think sometimes as Christians, we continue to enable it by paying attention to it. And the Andrew Tate thing is, hey, Christians aren't hard enough. They need to, you know, speak out more. And how can you mock their God and all this kind of stuff? I hear that. However, this is so silly and so ridiculous that when it happens, I almost feel like we play into the marketing ploy, even myself included, with making this sort of video, responding to how stupid the entire thing really is, how poorly executed it was, and how much I think Dababy played himself. And so I think we should all take a self-evaluation in terms of what are you clicking into? There's a lot of music that we listen to passively that we may even think is good for us, but isn't actually good and isn't actually promoting a value system or a worldview. And we'll say we like it just because of the beat. We like it just because this. And then when you really peel beneath the layers, you go, wait a minute, everything about this is counterintuitive to what I say my worldview is. And I'm not talking about neutral pop music that's like a love song. I'm not talking about secular music or lo-fi or, you know, smooth jazz. I'm talking about music that is talking about evil and glorifying evil and robbing and stealing, or music that is completely removing what the actual process of what it means to be a Christian, and it's the counter to that. Music that glorifies evil, that calls evil good and good evil. Even this past week, we saw Kendrick Lamar do the whole, you know, dress up and act like Jesus on the cross thing and with the crown of thorns. And then when there was a kid that said, I'm young Kendrick, can I get a hug? He wrote him a note and more reaffirmed New Age theology in the note that he wrote him. You know, you manifest your energy and manifest your our energies. This stuff is everywhere. So just be mindful of what you're consuming, because I want us to know every single click is pushing it up the algorithm. You may not think it is, but it is. And this is no different than all the other stuff we've seen in hip hop. And I think, what do? You know, and again, I think we as people consume what we choose to consume that'll edify and build the kingdom, edify our spirits, and continue to do what it is that we believe the message should go forward. Support the artists that represent that, support the musicians that represent that, and leave these other guys alone, because I don't think this is helpful. I think Dababy's played himself, but this is everywhere, and this is more present than we think it is with, again, Kendrick. And Kendrick's like the golden goose. Don't talk about Kendrick. He's a good guy. He's a Christian. No, he's not. He's New Age. He's full on New Age, okay? So there's a lot of great artists out there that we could be supporting. There's a lot of great brothers that are putting out music. Guys like my friend John Keith, Hovey, right? No Big Deal, Indie Tribe. There's so many good Christians that, in my opinion, I think rap better than a lot of the stuff that's out there. And it's not corny. And so what do? Do we just complain and say, oh, the world's bad, the world's evil? Yeah, the world's gonna be bad. The world's gonna be evil. But what do we do with our attention, and what do we do with our currency and who we're supporting? Hey, instead of being nitpicky about every single thing the Christian rapper does, how about we support them? How about we show them our love, show them our support, if that's what we want to do? And I think the music on the Christian side is substantially better. That's my opinion. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. And if you guys want to hear my brother John McCrae from What Do You Mean do his breakdown on what he thinks about Andrew Tate's faith and how this all kind of connects, you can check his video out over here. Or if you want to hear about the time Andrew Tate claimed to be an Orthodox Christian, you can check this video out over here. I'll see you over there. Peace.